So I've been trying to turn this jumbled mess that you see on the screen into a bunch of winners for a long time. This is the college basketball algorithm. I've been wanting to sort this thing so that it's winners all the way down, like top down, you get a bunch of winners in a row. And sometimes we do that when we sort by margin, which is what we're sorting by right now here. But I've been wanting to have a better order than this because a lot of these lines are bad and I wanted to compare lines. So I spent time creating an implied line, which is right here, which is what the algorithm thinks the line should be. Okay. That's kind of what it's doing. So check this out. There's still some games going tonight, but you see like 29 and 17, and the games that are completed are these games. I mean, it looks pretty good, but you have some losses right here. You're going to have home and away teams. Look at how bad our away teams did. Our away teams go 6 and 14, which is not all that unexpected. I mean, big, huge favorites here. Minus 500 loses on the road. Everybody loses on the road. College basketball, the one thing I've learned about college basketball doing this for years is you never, ever want to bet on the away team. You just don't. Like, just stuff just doesn't work out. Stuff like this. You do want to bet on home teams. And here's our home teams, 23 and 3 so far today, with some games still going on. And I am going to check in on some scores because these games are still going on right now. Okay. So some of these games will be finishing up as we do this video. But going back to the ones that we won and looking at the home teams, I was always like, all right, this is really good. 23 and 3 is really good. You got a lot of wins, but you have some breaks in here, right? Even though they were like minus 1,500, you got breaks here. Is there any way we can get the winners on top? And so what I did is I'm going to show you. So what I did, we're going to hide everything except for line value over here. So what I did was I compared the two lines together. So I said something like, what's this negative 1,500 compared to this negative 700? It's negative 798 worse, meaning we think the line should be 702 for UNC Wilmington here. And the odds makers are giving you minus 1,500, more than twice as bad, right? So there's this line value. And then there end up being value picks that come out of this, where the line that the algorithm says is worse than the line offered. And that means you're going to want to bet that most likely when it's a home team. So we're looking at just our home teams because that's all we should ever focus on is home teams with 0% bump. Watch this. More sort options, descending by line value, and voila, that's the secret right there. These happen to be home teams with fairly low margins that all won, but the algorithm said they had the best line value. Like these 5 were positive line values here. Southeastern Louisiana, Rice, William and Mary, Western Illinois, Southern Utah. They all had positive line values, meaning the line that the algorithm had was better than the line, or sorry, was worse than the line offered by the odds makers. Odds makers gave you better line. That's with no home bump at all. And then the home bump matters here because it's going to change this. But what this shows you is this shows you so far tonight 15 winners in a row. And if that isn't good enough, guess where you're losing spreads? Down here. Of course, because it says the algorithm says the line should be a lot better than what it is, which means you get more points with the other team. So I'm not surprised to see these teams not covering the spread all the way down here the way that we sort this, because it's supposedly the implied line is the true comparison of the team is what that's trying to represent. And this is the way to do this. This is absolutely the way to do this. So I mean, I'll go over tomorrow in a second, but there's hardly any games to play tomorrow, so it's not going to be very helpful tomorrow. You'll see. There's only like one that really stood out, and it's still like minus 275. I think it's Niagara. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to double check some scores to see if any of these games have finished up, because they might have. I want to keep adding to this because I was so amazed to see that do that. And I'll explain exactly why it is doing that And I'm about ready to say, guess what, everybody? It's almost the end of January. Like, that's it. Like, that's what people have been asking me to do was what's the pick to take? The answer, the pick to take was Southeastern Louisiana today. Because even though they didn't cover, to pick them to win was the best value. Like, even though they were minus 305, it's still, they should have been minus 377, whatever. They ended up being down like 8 or 9 points, I think, at half, and came back and won because they're a much better team. And it's like that's what college basketball can do for you, is a home team that's a better team will come back and win. I don't see any of the other games finishing yet. Yeah, they got like 5 minutes left in the second half, a lot of them. So it's just these games, but I just want to show you, because when you have 15 in a row, and by the way, you wouldn't necessarily take all 15. Let me show you the ones you would take. Look at the actual money line. Look at the color of it, right? If the color of it is green, and the greener it gets, the better the line is. Like, the best line is minus 118 here for Rice. I did take them today because I ran this, and they won. I took all these teams. Couldn't take this, took this, took all of them in one. It was the easiest money ever. And I was like, wow. It's like, I guess the algorithm could do this every day, probably, right? So, like, you want the good lines here. So you would stop right here. You might not even take this 410 because that's awful. You might just take these games. That's probably what I would have done looking at this, not knowing how many we're going to win in a row. You just want to take the good lines. That's 12 of them. Let me show you what that would have done, because they all won. Okay, so these 12 all win. We're going to take them and we're going to put them into the round robin calculator here. They all won. All right. This is old stuff down here. This is me betting football and probably losing when I was working with this last time. It's funny. So here's all 12, right? Now, you're not going to win all 12 every day like that. That's a good day for home teams, but you could throw $1 on it. How much does $1 pay? 98 to 1. I mean, that thing hit 90, and not only that's 12, but we also cleared we cleared one in between there. We cleared the first 15, and it looks like, yeah, I mean, it's a really good day it's exceptionally good day for home teams, but still. So let's go back to the round robin calculator. So when there are big college basketball days like that, you grab as many of these home teams as you want, and you start like betting the high end of the round robin because you're supposed to win so many of them, right? Here's a $79 bet that paid $4,000 just by hitting a bunch of home favorites that all won. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Now, if you start losing games, you're going to really drastically lose your payout. It goes down to 500. You lose one of those games, you lose another one, and you're probably losing money. Yeah, you're already losing money losing 2 games. So you're not going to have an amazing day like that every day, and you don't have to bet just the ones all the way down here. You can bet some of the round robins that are only 3s and 4s and 5s, and then if you can lose a few games and you're still going to win money. But that is crazy that is a 98 to 1 shot that had like no problem hitting. Like, I think every one of these games was easy. The Morehead State one, I didn't pay attention to that one. But yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of like, guys, my work's done here. Like, every day you're just going to sort by line value, look at home teams. Oh yeah, let's look at tomorrow. I told you would do that. So tomorrow, I don't know if there are going to be more games and they're just not posted for lines yet, but there weren't very many. It's this number of games. Okay, so you want to open up the whole thing and look at everything, even though it's tough to look at on the phone or computer or whatever. But I want to look at everything for a second. So what you have, is, oh yeah, okay. So the reason why it's showing up as away, home, home is because we're sorting by that line thing. Okay, over here. And it turns out the way that the algorithm calculates the lines is it gives the away team a true line as if they weren't away. It gives them a line as if they were a neutral site team almost. And what that does is that makes the Vegas odds makers lines are always much better than the line that the algorithm is kicking out. So what happens is you see that Purdue Fort Wayne game. What you have there is the implied line is 166 and the money line is 176 because they're away. It's tough to Cleveland State's a really good team. This is probably a terrible pick, actually. But that's why we're just not going to pay attention to away teams. Get it? We're just going to care about home teams. These are the only teams that you should consider betting tomorrow, unless you want to take the home teams in the other games that are not favored, because you want to have home teams. So, yeah, here's the thing, right? There isn't any positive line value, meaning every line is worse than the algorithm's kicking out. So, like, the algorithm says it should be 215 game for Niagara, and it's negative 275 instead of negative 215. Yet that's basically, this is your best stuff right here. These three, Niagara, Youngstown, and North Dakota State, at these terrible lines. That's the only thing to take on Friday because there aren't enough games. But when there are enough games, like there were today on Thursday, yeah, you look at that weird look. Yeah, your away teams are miserable. I just throw them. It's almost like you bet against them. It's like almost. I wonder if you just bet the home team in every single game, every college basketball game the entire year. I wonder if you win money. It seems like it's a possibility because look at what happened here. Look at what happened to some of these away teams. See these lines? Like minus 550, minus 140, minus 150, minus 161. All these home team slight favorites just these away favorites get destroyed. Like any away favorite, you just bet the other side home team, and look at how many of them won. It's crazy. It's the other side of this. All these teams right here. It's crazy. Anyway, it just tells you so I say focus on home teams because you end up getting a cleaner look like this because it's filtering out some of this. I mean, some of these away teams won, right? Like 6 of them did win, and the algorithm did have 6 of them. They didn't pay great ever anyway. And a minus 550 loses. So anyway, like I said, focus on home teams and you get this. It's crazy. So that's it. That's how you pick college basketball games is you write all this code. So yeah, I just decided to do the video. I'll keep doing them till the end of January 31. Stuff stops and we move on and sports becomes a thing of the past for the YouTube channel. All right. I know it's sad, but you can still get copies of the algorithm if you act fast and you sweet talk me, you can get one. All right. So good luck, everybody, and may all of your picks be home team positive value pick line picks that all win, and you end up with $3,000 with 70 from 70. I mean, come on, 4,000 bucks. Why didn't I do this today? Didn't know. Guess we'll have to do it tomorrow. No, we can't do it on Saturday. Saturday is when we're going to do it. Watch out. There will be a video on Saturday where I do a bunch of these. I'm going to do like a bunch of 15ers. They're going to be, actually, we'll do 14ers. We're in Colorado. We'll call them 14ers, where I will do nothing but college basketball home team, 14 teams at a time. And we'll have some fun with that. All right. Good luck, everybody. Now, your picks be winning.